Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for spirit travel and Magic the Gathering. I'm your host, Dwight, aka DeBlanco, a medium that wears an extra extra large. You can reach out to me on Twitter at MTG Ectoplasm, or you can email me directly at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. Let me know how am I doing. Am I doing a good job, a bad job, or maybe I shouldn't quit my day job? Now, like I do each and every single episode, do me a favor. Hit that follow, like, subscribe button. It's a moral imperative. I don't know where it is, somewhere up here, down here. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, Boo Crew, you can also listen on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast. Now it's time to bring in the young lady who does all the graphics, all the little doodads and doohickeys for me. Meet a new little thing back here that we're going to be talking about in a couple weeks. The one, the only, the ravishing Renata. How you doing there, ravishing?
Hi.
How you feeling?
Good.
It's been a week or almost 2 weeks since we did an episode.
Yeah.
So it's like we're due. I want to thank you for allowing me to do this because the fact that this past weekend I went to an RCQ. Do you know what an RCQ stands for?
No.
Okay. It means Regional Championship Qualifier. What this does is allow people, everyday Joes, everyday Janes as well, to go out there and compete to see if they're good enough to sit there and get onto the pro tour, or at least say they're the top of the top, the best of the best, the creme de la creme of the particular area. Unfortunately, I came up top 10, not top 8, which it was due to a fact that I made a huge colossal mistake. And you know what? The number one thing you should do when you're playing Magic the Gathering, Renata, is
read the cards.
to read the effing cards. Or RTFC. Well, you've seen those. I got full of myself. I thought I had the victory, which I did have the victory. I had the portable hole in my hand, and I'm going to educate you a little later on that I had the victory against a tough deck, and you know what? I screwed the pooch. So let's get this thing started. I'm going to share with you the deck list that I used and why. And here we go. And the deck list is Azorius Spirits. That's what I do. This is my bag. Okay, we're running 26 creatures here. 4 Mausoleum Wanderer, 4 Rattle Chains, 2 Selfless Spirit, 4 Shacklegeist, 4 Spectral Sailor, 4 Spell Queller, and 4 Supreme Phantoms. Same old, right? Nothing has changed here. Now let's look at the instance. This is where something did change. There were 2 Lofty Denials, 4 Geistlight Snare, and then 2 Slip Out the Back. Now, most of you are like, well, Dwight, you've been talking out the wazoo about Loran's Escape. Correct, I have. I'm a huge fan of Loran's Escape just because the ability to get card advantage. So I know what's coming from the top. But something that occurred to me. I'm seeing a lot more Rakdos, mid range and Rakdos sacrifice. That bothers me a lot. So when they try to come after my creatures and they saying, hey, Dwight, you got to sacrifice a creature. You know what? I can just slip out the back my creature. Oh, it phases out. It comes back in with a +1/+1 counter on it. And now I'm attacking with a lot more and potentially lethal. So I was like, you know what? Let me try it this time around. And let me just tell you, came in pretty good against the deck and a card against the card they weren't expecting me to do it to, which allowed me to get the victory. Now let's look at enchantments, which obviously means yours are auras. You have 4 Curious Obsession. Love this card. We need this card, especially in spirits, because of card draw, something we truly lack. Now I'm running 22 lands, 1 Hall of the Storm Giants, 1 of John Josita the Empire, 4 Hollow Fountains, 4 Hingegate / Mistgate Pathways, 1 Island, 1 Ottawa Soaring City, 2 Mutavaults, 4 Seachrome Coast, 4 our Dark Art Ways. You know what? I need as much white as I can. I know some people are like, well, Dwight, 4 Dark Art Waste, your deck isn't showing too much. Why put the 4? Just go 3 Dark Art Waste, 2 Island. I'll be quite sincere with you. When I get enough islands out there, a Dark Our Waste just becomes just a generic mana, a colorless mana, so it doesn't bother me taking the ping or taking the 1 point of damage here and there. So I didn't really mind. That's the reason why I personally put 4 Dark Our Waste instead of 2 islands, and then just 3 Dark Our Waste. Now the sideboard, I changed up my sideboard a little bit, and here it is: 4 portable hole, 2 Reckoner Bank Busters, which is the first time I've ever used it. I did not get to use it in this RCQ. I'm hoping to go to future uh, LGSs to test it out and see how it plays out. 3 Aether which did come in handy. 2 Mystic Disputes, which came in handy. 2 Cemetery Illuminators, which came in handy. And then finally, 2 Skyclave Apparition, which always come in handy. So this is the deck list I use. Now, one thing that I rarely ever do, and something I honestly never did, is thanks to my friend Nikachu, the Merfolk Master guy. Besides, this is the actual deck that I used. But one thing he taught me, he's like, Dwight, listen, I know you've been playing Magic for 20 plus years. When you're playing Magic, the last thing you want to do is use extra gray matter to play. And especially if you're going to a competitive atmosphere, or especially in an RCQ, you don't want to think too much. What you want to do is just do what you got to do. So, say if you're coming across a certain particular deck, let's open it up. Oh, great, here it is. This is my deck. And now, what can I take out for a particular card that just doesn't? Oh, you know what? Let me just look at my sideboard here, which the hell? There you go. There you go. I'm back. So let me look at my sideboard. Oh, here we go. My sideboard. Oh, this might work. This might not work. Forget those shenanigans. Forget that. That's, ladies and gentlemen, Boo Crew, stop doing that to yourself. Okay? This is why I tell you, I'm going to be sincere with you. This is why I try not to give you guys sideboard guides, because it depends on your immediate area where you go, what you play against. Because there are certain decks or certain style of decks that they change it up a little bit. So what I ended up doing, oh, here are my formerly chocolatey stained fingers, because I had me some chocolatey pie earlier. A deck list, a, a sideboard to help me figure out, so I don't have to worry about gray matter. I recommend this for everybody to go through, and I'm only gonna do the decks that I played against, the cards that I put in, cards I took out, and why. And this is the deck list that the sideboard guide that I created for myself to sit there and better educate myself, better play. Because let me just tell you, the people who did not have this or have their own personal guides for the decks they were playing, ravishing. Let me just tell you, it was really tough on them.
Good. Give them a run for the money.
Well, not only that, what happens is that sometimes, you're so stressed under pressure, like, oh my god, I'm hungry, I got to use the bathroom, or you got so many different things going on that people don't think that this little piece of paper. Now, mind you, you're allowed only one piece of paper. You know what I have here? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 decks. 15 decks just here. I still have another side that I could have used. And realistically, there are 2 decks that were not on here. 2 decks. So I had to go scrounging around like, damn, what would I do? What would I change? Well, I on the fly, I did it and it made a difference. Could I have done better? Yeah, because realistically and honestly, we're gonna see how I did during this RCQ that I went to this past weekend. So, ravishing. Let's bring up the first slide or secondary slide, and here it is. I went against Abzan Greasefang. I went 2-0, and what I ended up doing was I took out 2 Skyclave Apparition, took out 2 Cemetery Illuminators, took no, sorry. I put in 2 Skyclave Apparition, put in 2 Cemetery Eliminators. I took out 2 Selfless Spirit and 2 Supreme Phantoms. Now, I know some of you are like, Dwight, really? Supreme Phantom? This is our Lord. Why would you take that out of the deck? This is why. Some people are like, well, You could have gone with Shacklegeist. You're correct. I could have taken out Shacklegeist, but see if they're attacking with their vehicles that they have there, those pretty damn good vehicles. I wanted to tap them down before they could even attack. Now, some of you go, well, maybe rattle chains. Well, the reason why I kept rattle chains in there is because why? Because I want to give my creatures hexproof and the ability to sit there and play flash. So, me personally, going against this deck, this was the first game I played. This is the first round I went against this deck. I went 2-0. What I ended up doing is I went out of my way to take out Greasefang. I sat there and made sure that I attacked their deck early. The best part is, you put Selfless Spirit on the board and you just bing, bing, bing. They get nervous, and then next thing you're countering cards. You're using your spell quellers. Oh, I may have to use my Mausoleum Wanderer. Oh, and then here comes the Curious Obsession that I usually try to play around turn 3, turn 4. Now I'm getting value by attacking with my creature a little bit bigger, and I'm drawing cards. Wonderful. That's how I played this against Abzan Greasefang. This is a deck that I'm going to be honest with you. Most people see as an easy win. I say that the advantage is on our side, but if you misplay against the deck, you'll surely lose this deck. You'll lose against it 100% of the time. Now let's look at the next deck, shall we? And the next deck is Rakdos Combo. Now the reason why people go, well, Dwight, Rakdos Combo? Yeah, Rakdos Combo. I'm going to explain why in a second. Oh, thank you for allowing me to cough. What happens is that we've seen Rakdos mid range, right? It's a tough matchup. Thoughtseize. We have the a fatal push, right? We're used to those. Rakdos Combo is Witch's Oven and Kitchen Oven and the cat familiar, the Witch's familiar. And they put it in the oven. They sacrifice it to get a food. They sacrifice the food to bring the kitty back. And next thing you know, you're losing one life. They're gaining life. They're losing life. Sorry, you're losing life. They're gaining life. And this is an ongoing combo trick that they go over and over and over again. And if it happens early, there's really nothing you can do because we usually rely on who? The Mausoleum Wanderer to sit there and counter certain spells. But because it's a cat, a creature, you can't do that. And because we're going against an artifact, the 1 mana artifact, which is the oven, it doesn't work. We're sitting there screwed. We're sitting there twiddling our thumbs. So against this deck, I literally went. Let me grab here my my paper here. Because I went 0-2. My first game, I went 1-7. Like life totals, I was down to 1, and he was at 7, and I kept on banging and banging and banging, knocking on the door. There was really nothing I could do, just the way the deck was set up. But then next thing you know, I went to my handy dandy paper here, didn't have it because who would think a cat oven combo? I was like, are you kidding me? And the guy playing is laughing because, like, yeah, no, I'm playing this deck. Nobody's expecting it. Most people see Rakdos, they expect him Rakdos mid range or sacrifice, but not this kitchen combo. Nobody's expecting it. So what I ended up doing is I put in 2 Sky Evaporation, 4 Portable Hole. And then I took out 2 Selfless Spirit and the 4 Shacklegeist. Why? Because Shacklegeist in this time, I didn't care what they were attacking because he wasn't using his attacking. He wasn't attacking me for anything. What he was using was just a stupid combo. And Selfless Spirit, oh, it's there to sit there and protect my creatures, give my creatures indestructible. How does that help? Using Portable Hole and using Skyclave Apparition allows me to sit there and take away their certain keys that they have to use, which is the oven, which I did take away. The individual's oven took away 3 of his ovens in game 2, and they still came back and beat me with 5 I was down to 5, and he had ended up going to 10. I had nothing in this matchup, but if I could have had one more Portable Hole or Skyclave, I would have probably pulled out the victory there. So from that point on at the RCQ, I went 1-1. Now let's look at the next deck. And the next deck I played against was Bring to Light. I went 2-1. I ended up putting in 3 Aether Gusts and 2 Mystic Disputes. I ended up taking out 4 Shacklegeist and 1 Spell Queller. Let me just tell you, this was a fun game, fun matchup, fun round to play against. Going against 2-1, I ended up beating the guy first round. He ends up beating me second round. And then the third round, I ended up beating him. And what happens is that this is where I tell you, slip out the back, came in handy. In game 1, he had ended up having Omnath on the board. And he was trying to gain life. He wanted to do a whole bunch of shenanigans. In response to these shenanigans, I played Slip Out the Back. I phased out his Omnath, which stopped him from doing what he had to do. I had enough creature support on the board. I attacked and got the victory game 1. Game 2, I was like, okay, I need to bring in Aether Gust so I can, basically bounce Omnath back to the hand or use the Mystical Dispute to counter the Bring to Light. Spell Queller, yeah, it would have been great. It would have been nice. Yeah, it deals with Omnath, but then he had other shenanigans in his hand that I felt I couldn't do nothing with. And then on top of that, Shacklegeist tapping creatures, it's like it's setting me back. I couldn't move forward. I couldn't sit there and attack the way I wanted freely. I was like, oh, do I tap here? I did have Mutavault on play or able to attack, or should I hold it back to tap down this creature? I felt it was too much. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let me get rid of the Shacklegeist. And it came in handy game 3, where I ended up getting the victory. I ended up having 9 life. He ended up having 1 life at the very end. And I ended up getting the victory there. Let me just tell you, that was a tough matchup, but a very fun matchup. That deck, let me just tell you how to play against that deck. Hands down, the same principle. Play your 1 mana creatures early. Set up for the counter. They're going to be annoyed because guess what? You have the Lofty Denial. You'll have the Mystic Disputes. You will have the Aether Gusts. You will have your Spell Quellers countering these spells left and right. Remember, you're still playing Geistlight Snare. You have a lot of counter in the deck. And because of this interaction, they're really fearful and don't know how to play against you. And just pecking away at your opponent seems long and drawn out, but a lot of pecks get you the victory. Now, Ravishing, let's bring up the next slide, shall we? And here we go. This is the merch store. Ravishing, tell us a little bit about it.
We have an MTG Ectoplasm merch store. You can find it at www.mtgectoplasm.com. We have t-shirts and coffee mugs. They come in all sizes and colors for men and women.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And as you see, I'm drinking from the coffee cup. It's absolutely delish. And get you all your sizes. Come and support the show. Support us, the Boo Crew. We really need it as much as you can because we're trying to bring a new product out onto the coming up soon. We're trying to hide it there a little bit, but we're trying to bring new stuff to the light. And let me just tell you, even Nikachu, the Merfolk Master, like that a lot, and even other plays at the RCQ like that a lot. So let's bring up the next slide, shall we? And here we go. Humans, mono white humans. I went 1 and 2. Let me just tell you, I was a little annoyed here because this is a deck that most people say, "Oh, it's a tough matchup. Oh, it's a tough matchup." I disagree. To me, this is a matchup that I personally feel that isn't that tough. The secret is the same thing over again. Put your creatures out early, counter what spells you can. If they have a big creature, you may want to use Shacklegeist. In game 1, didn't work out for me. That game one, I ended up realistically, I had to draw 4 because I had to mulligan. I had to mulligan down to 4, and it was really a really bad match at game one. Nothing I could do. But then I went to my handy dandy uh, handy guide, and then I ended up putting in 4 Skyclave apparition, 4 portable hole. I ended up taking the 2 lofty denials out and the 4 shackle guys. Let me just tell you, hands down, portable hole is the real deal. My opponent was trying everything in their power to overpower me using Dahlia's this and Dahlia's that. There's nothing they could do. I flew over for the victory. Woohoo. I kicked their ass game 2. Game 3. This is the piece de resistance where I had the victory. I had 5 life and they were 1 life. And this is the foolish mistake. I could have been top 8. And the mistake that I made is ravishing. What is the key thing when it comes to Magic the Gathering?
Read the cards.
Read the card. I literally had 5 points of damage on the board. He had no. I believed he had no visible thing he could do. He was completely tapped out. And I just thought, humans, they're all on the ground. All I have to do is just fly over and attack. And mind you, I had a portable hole in my hand. Ravishing, let's bring the next slide over. And this is what was there. He had Tomic, the disguised Avacist. 2 mana. Human legend, excuse me. Human legendary creature, advisor, 2/3. See that part right there? I didn't see it. Flying. Flying. It didn't matter anything else. Let's read the card just out of curiosity. Lands on the battlefield and lands in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Okay. Doesn't bother us. Your opponents can't play lands from your graveyard. Who cares? If I would have portable to hold this stupid card, if I would have read the freaking card, I could have portable hold this. He would have been in this Tomic would have been a hole, and I would have marched on with a victory, going 2-1, and I could have cruised wonderfully into the top 8. Am I angry? Am I bitter? No, it just means that, you know what? People who play Magic for over 20 plus years still make some stupid, idiotic mistakes. And hopefully, you're one of the smart people instead of going, oh, instead of I'm watching this guy no more because he makes stupid mistakes. No, I want you to learn from my mistakes and be better Magic players than I am. That's the reason why I put out this content. I want you to succeed. I want you to prosper. I want you to be the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. It'd be nice if I was too. I'm just saying. But wouldn't it be better if you were? So, taking this victory, taking this loss, I took it personal. But I was like, you know what? I got one more round to go. Let's see what happens. Let's spin the wheel. And Ravishing, let's bring up the next slide. And what did I play against? Oh, here you go. I played against humans again. I learned my lesson that time. I went 2-1. I got the victory this time. I made sure I kept an eye out for that previous card. Tomic? What is it? Tomic, is it? Tomic. I made sure I kept an eye for Tomic. Because that guy, flying individual, will no longer be flying in my neck of the woods. I put 2 Sky Apparition, 4 Portable Hold, took out the 2 Lofty Denial, and the 4 Shacklegeist. In this game, I kept on taking away all his threats with the Portable Holes and the Skyclave Apparition. Let me just tell you, The young man that when I played against him, game 1, I owned. Absolutely owned. Game 2, I once again I was like mulligan pains, but I kept on going and going and going. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll have the answers. I'll have the answers. And the answers were coming. And then the very end, he got me. I was like, okay, not a problem. There's still game 3. Game 3, he had me at 1 life. Bukru, he had me at 1 life. He had 5 life left. And don't you know, there's portable hole in my hand again. I already played 2 portable hole and a skyclave apparition earlier. And what do I see in front of me? Yeah, you know the card. Tomic. This time with the portable hole in my hand, I portable hold this guy. Like, adios, arrivederci, mushi mushu, konnichiwa, aloha means hello and goodbye. Tomic was gone. The young man had no answers, and I flew over for the victory. Let me just tell you, the guy who I ended up playing against, the previous human player, okay, was shaking my hand, thanking me that I beat that player because it allowed him to get the top 8. It allowed him to walk through and make sure he had that little shiny card that he ended up getting. Now, I'm not going to complain because they gave me a nice mystical dispute, and they also got a spell pierce, full art, extend art cards. Very, very nice. But this teaches you, ladies and gentlemen, play out the games. Don't be afraid. And if you make a mistake, learn from the previous mistake. Go out there and kick names and take ass. Because that's what I did. So from this point, from this time on, Tomic is living rent free right here. Portable hole, you bet your back end portable hole will always have Tomic's name on it. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Am I making too much out of it? Am I telling you the truth? Am I full of feces telling you, hey, get this. Make one for yourself. I know some of you are like, oh, I want to extend it out and see what. Go ahead, see what I got in. Remember, there were 2 decks. Rakdos Cat Oven and the Bring to Light deck. Not in there. But as you see, I give you a little tricks there and how to play the deck. When playing at this RCQ, you had many styles of people playing. You had the guy who ended up winning the secret lair. He ended up getting that, like, I forget what card it was. He ended up getting $16,000 for the card. I was like, holy crap! I played against Pro Tour players at the RCQ. It was great. I had a great time. If you have a chance and you're like a tabletop player, try it out. Just make sure, got this. You play a lot of Magic and learn from my mistakes. And if you make foolish mistakes, learn from them too, because you'd be an idiot not to, like I did. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being here. Hopefully you learned a little bit from what I had. You saw the deck list. Maybe you want to use it. I suggest trying it out. So the next time you're kicking your opponent's ass, make sure they say, that's Bushi.